or $30 application fee to only find out that you've been denied. Okay? So one of the things I teach is people to be prepared. You know, learn what your credit score is. When you go into a job or apartment complex and, you know, apply blindly, not knowing whether you're going to lose that money or not. Always know what your credit score is. Okay? Jobs. You're pulling credit reports now. You need a job for an apartment. You need a job for a house. So it's very important that we understand that some of us can be innocent victims if we don't avoid the traps that are out there. And we have to self-educate ourselves. Okay, we have to get involved with knowing that, you know, what's hindering us, what's keeping us from moving forward. Okay, the percentage worth midterm, and then it may say 25% is final. So you know you've got a total of 100% there total that you can get out of that grade, correct? That's what you want to be looking at in your credit report when you look at those sections. Okay? The credit file is divided into sections. And I call it the plant. People don't know that you can have a 700 or 800 credit score. Right? But just because you have, just write it down, debt. This is why you can.
I thought the workshop was just overpowering, how women would come all the way from out of town just to preach to little kids, to adults. The poetry was good. Just the whole thing was wonderful, how God can just overpower women, and that's what I love.
Alright YouTube, this is 4 errors. Review your credit file. Make sure that personal information, all the names, all the addresses is deleted. That's number 1. Number 2, we want to make sure all those accounts that need to be closed are closed. Okay? In the other video, I told you about the revolving accounts. That's the only account that you don't close. Review your file and make sure everything's closed. All the old mortgages, any repossession, anything that, you know, needs to be closed, need to be closed. Alright, so that's tip number 2. Amounts owed. Okay, if you've had a repossession and the amount is showing up there, guess what? The amount is wrong. Okay, it's supposed to be 0. So make sure all those amounts are and errors are corrected. And this is number 4. This is a biggie. I did a video on re-aging. So find that video. Old accounts. Okay. Review your file and get all those 7-year accounts, old accounts off. If you see an account on your file that is, you know, reporting in 2011 or 2010 and you know it's 7 years old, guess what? It's old and it has to go. So those are 4 errors. I wanted to give y'all those 4 errors that may be on your credit report. Okay, if you're trying to boost those points, find me on Facebook, The Hardest Working Woman in Credit. Go to my fan page, Credit Advice for You. The magazine is coming. I'm working on the Credit Digest magazine. There is a Facebook page. Go to the Facebook wall. The Credit Digest magazine is coming, so stay tuned. Thanks. Mind tour is all about you making up your mind that you want to come out of bondage. You want to be debt free. That you got a plan. That you don't want to live paycheck to paycheck no more. That you're tired of being denied for credit. You're tired of the hindrances and the roadblocks that are blocking your dreams, blocking your visions. You're just tired. You're at a roadblock. So the Make Up Your Mind tour is for those people who are ready to step out on faith and say, you know what, I done made up my mind that I don't want to have no bad credit no more. My finances going to be right. My children are going to be educated. Make up your mind. Let's go. 2000. 3 books, Innocent Victims, Take Care of Your Credit, and Good Credit is No Secret. That's the Trinity collection. I've also written a workbook because I teach credit all across the country and locally here called Rip Your Credit Apart. So the next credit education class will be... has sold it, so they have left your account. They're not paying the credit bureaus to report it anymore. So now your file on that account is left whatever shape it was in when they sold it. Now you got to deal with that. Okay? So if you do not initiate a dispute on your credit file, guess what's going to happen to that account? It's going to stay open. Just like it is, error, inaccurate, which is why we have to do a dispute letter. Okay? So you have a right to do a dispute letter to dispute everything that's wrong with that account. Now, remember, if the original creditor sold your account to a debt collection, what should the balance be on that account? 0. So Hi, my name is Regina Littles, and I'm talking to you today about my company, Cox Financial. I'm going to do 2 videos because I've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls, and I just want you to know all about Cox and all about Regina Littles. In 2008, like millions of other people who were out of a job or got laid off or got fired, I found myself after 20 years unemployed. And I didn't want to be on unemployment. I had saved up, and I was pretty financially set for, at least a year or so. I had money saved up, and my bank account started to deplete, and the bills kept coming, and da 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 da. And so I had worked really hard on keeping my credit up and maintaining my credit, and so I knew that I needed to get a head start on my new direction. And so every job that I've ever pretty much applied for, I prayed about where God wants me at and where He wants me to be. And so I started praying. I started talking to my Father, and I started saying, Lord, where is it that you need me to go? Where's my next job? And so I started applying for all kind of jobs. I didn't get no answer or response, whatever. And so I said, okay, it's been 3 months now. Yeah, okay, I need to get something. And so I kind of got frustrated, and I started ranting and raving, upset with God, because He ain't talking to me. And I was laying on the couch, and He spoke to me. And it was the first time that I actually could say that I really heard Him clearly. And He said to me, He said, my child, I have blessed you with knowledge. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that, people sing and dance, and they have all these great talents and stuff, and here He is telling me knowledge. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get paid off knowledge? And so I had already been writing, because I write poems. I've written so many poems. I wrote the credit formula and their credit reports, because a lot of times when you get credit reports, you're looking at it like, what is this? You don't know how to read it. So that's just a little background about me. My website is reginalittles.com. There's a ton of information on the website. You'll get to read a whole chapter about me in here. So we're going to go ahead and go into the outline of the course. But I want to just go over the objective for a minute here for this course. The objective for this course is to educate you on having and maintaining a high credit rating. You will understand what the banks are looking for when you go to apply for your loan. Okay? This class will give you a step-by-step roadmap to where you need to be to help you obtain home ownership. Additionally, we want to review your file for errors before you apply, so we don't run into any roadblocks. Okay? You'll also understand your credit report. When you leave this class, you will understand how to read your credit report. You will start building good credit habits, and you will learn how to monitor your file. Okay? So I'm just going to make sure you read that. Okay? So we're just going to go into the 7 o'clock outline, which is the first section. Is the understand how to read your credit. Because I'm getting ready to get picky to find out how I got there in the first place.
That's right.
So it depends on the type of person you are. Oh yeah, yes ma'am. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm following you a little bit because okay, when you separate state and federal, I know how that is broken down ultimately. Okay, but so federal, is that like a different, so like a different type of bill? So like if you owe the government.
I've been working with her for a while. I started with about 550 credit score. In a short amount of time, within 6 months, I was already in a 600. And I didn't have to pay anything, nothing on my credit. All I had to do was work with Regina. And now, last I checked,
To 2005, I monitored it every month. And I had ready for the monitoring services because I was studying the credit scores, and I was studying the performance, and I was studying what made you up and made you down. So I monitored like that. But now I do it twice a year. So until you get your file stabilized, if you're under 600, you definitely want to keep that monitoring service for a year or more. Now, once you get it stabilized, I tell people, and they're already making money off of the monitoring service. So you go from 12 months because you're stabilizing it. Now what you want to do is decrease it twice every 6 months, 4 times a year. And once you got your car or your house, guess what? 1 time a year. So you know you can break it down from 12 to 4 to 1. Because remember, you need a house, you need a car. Before you purchase anything, you want to start that planning 6 months to a year before you apply, so you can make sure that everything's up to date. If you're under 600 and you're trying to get 700, 750, or whatever support, you definitely want to keep it every month because you'll be working on it, you're monitoring. You have to monitor the activity to see what's on it every month. Yeah, I'm done. So we're gonna 3 minutes. We're kind of early. We're gonna take a 15-minute break, and then we're gonna come back and do objective 3, 4, and 5. Is that okay? So while they bring the food in, y'all can take a 15-minute break. If you want to walk around the Citrus Club, you can. Okay.
Network.
Good afternoon. This is Ann, the PA for the hardest working woman in credit, Miss Regina Littles, and this is part 2 of a previous interview with Mrs. Tangela Evans, one of our top queens of the Kings and Queens Empowerment Project. And Tangela, today we would like to know information about your experience with Chase.
My experience with Chase has been truly phenomenal. My loan was not delinquent, it was current, and they sold my loan to ACS, which is a collection agency. And in the process, my loan was now increased $2,000 in fees that ACS has charged. Now I'm in the process of trying to get that off my report, and with Regina's help, we're going to get that. We're going to fight that battle and get that removed. But I want everybody to know, stay knowledgeable and educated about your loans with whoever student loan you have, and make sure you're watching to see when you're selling, consolidate them, there's no additional fees acquired.
Wow. So you're saying when they sold the loan, they actually attached an additional $2,000 to your previous loan, and there was no delinquencies, and they just attached that?
That is correct. That's their processing fees from one company to another.
Be aware. Look at the small print. Keep your credit updated. Always look into your credit files, because you can start off with one amount, and just because a company decides to transfer, you get charged with the prices. Wow. That's why we need people like Miss Regina Littles, the hardest working woman in credit.